Welcome to the Functional Living Podcast, featuring your hosts, Dr. Jeff Cumro.
You can't live a 3 out of 10 on the lifestyle scale and expect to have a 10 out of 10 on health. It just doesn't work that way.
And Dr. Jared Leon.
We want you to live at a higher quality of life, thereby having a better everyday existence.
Functional Living is the show that is dedicated to your higher quality of life. These are tried and true solutions from two nationally acclaimed health and wellness experts.
Our goal in this journey is quite simple, is to give our listeners a small understanding of what we've done and what we see every single day to better patient lives.
Learn how you can live a higher quality of life today.
You're going to be much happier. You're going to be much healthier.
And now, introducing your hosts, Dr. Jeff Cumro and Dr. Jared Leon.
Hey, this is Dr. Jeff Cumro. I'm here with Dr. Jared Leon. We want to welcome you to the Functional Living Podcast, where being healthy isn't the only goal. We want you to be functional in being healthy. I think today we're going to look into reasons why people don't go to the chiropractor. Dr. Jared, why don't you get us started on this topic?
Okay, my first one that I hear almost every day until it's the last resort is, it is the last resort. I've had this pain for so long. I've gone everywhere, and yet it's still here. So I know I'm not really supposed to be here, but I happen to find you through a referral or through a great friend of mine who told me to come here. So how could you help me today? So that's one I hear every day. The other one I hear almost every day is, oh, if I get a chiropractic adjustment or if I go once, I have to go the rest of my life. We're going to answer all these in a moment, but we're just going to give you some fun ones. Dr. Jeff, give another one.
One of my favorites is, I didn't know you could help with that. And I didn't even know you had it. If I would have known, there's a lot of things that we can do, but knowing is a big part of it.
So what Dr. Jeff is really saying is, listen, first rule, we see a lot of things in the office that you would never think, right? So the first misconception to really break open the smoke and mirror is truly this. A chiropractor is not just a neck and back doctor. That's the first thing. So if you have anything outside of normal that you do not feel super awesome, you might consider get a spine and nervous system checkup. But let's not get to the good stuff yet. Let's go through a few more crazy things we hear all the time of why I can't go. Dr. Jeff, give me another one.
One of my favorite ones is, I've got something else scheduled in. I can't make it. I'm in the office all day. I mean, we can...
So what are you saying, that priorities aren't right? Is that what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying. I mean, your health is one of those things that it doesn't stick around if you don't take care of it. You've got to take care of your health. It has to be one of your priorities.
Okay, the other one I hear often is, I was waiting until it got worse, or I thought it was going to go away on its own. So, my neck's only hurt for a year, so I thought after a year it would go away, or after 2 weeks, or after a month. But now after a month, it's spreading from neck pain down, shooting down my right arm, and now my arm's numb, so now I found you. What's another good one? Let's give two more really good ones.
I got to think here, but I hear so many that it's hard to come up with them sometimes.
It is hard, so I'll help you with another one. Hey, I never thought you can help with that. I never knew you would adjust children. Like, why would you adjust children? We've had another podcast about that, but that's another really big one. Like, why would you adjust kids? Nobody thinks that. Or why would you adjust my baby? You're going to crack my baby's neck? That's crazy. And we're like, that's not what we do. But we hear this every day. So instead, you've suffered with acid reflux or colic for so many days, or constant ear infections, or immune issues, or severe allergies, and yet a chiropractor could have helped you within maybe 1 to 4 visits. Now that is profound. So listeners, listen, we're going to break through these misconceptions right now. So why don't we start with some fun ones about we talked about the fun things you hear. Why don't we talk about the reality? All right. Why don't we talk about the reality of what happens when we walk into an office like mine or Dr. Jeff's, and what could happen? What are the possibilities?
You hear all the time, somebody I know or somebody I heard one time got hurt. And the most common side effect from chiropractic, the most common negative side effect is just a little discomfort as far as muscle soreness. So it's not the terrible things that you hear about. That's all propaganda out there to kind of bring us down. But a little muscle soreness can be normal in certain cases. If you've had something there for a long time, we move things around, that can happen. But it's not the strokes. It's not the broken legs. It's not the broken back. It's not the broken neck. None of that stuff happens. It's just so far out of the normal. It's just freak things.
Totally true, Dr. Jeff. So let's just put it out there. Listeners, listen. If you have any condition, let's just break it down. Anything that ends with an itis, anything that makes you not think clear, including anxiety, depression, anything, headaches, vertigo, dizziness, real crazy things, anything small. Remember, you are meant to live functionally and to live at a high level of performance. So if you are not performing at your absolute best, all we challenge you, it's all about challenges here, go get a checkup. Go give a chiropractor a month. Watch what you feel like. What if this is the best thing you've ever found? What if you feel better than you've ever felt? What if it changes your life and the life of your family? What if your whole family starts to get spinal checkups? What if everyone increases their immune system? How many patients do I have? It's countless that they come after, say, a year of care and they go, I never thought of it, doc. No one in my family got sick. And I go, isn't that interesting? Yet every other year, every Christmas, everybody was sick, or every holiday season when people are stressed out. And yet, how is that possible? It's all about possibilities. Dr. Jeff, help me out here.
We talked about paying attention to your health. And how are you going to know what's wrong unless you go and get evaluated? It's pretty much impossible to do.
Totally true.
You've got to get a baseline reading of things. And the only way that we're going to know how to do that is if we assess where your nervous system is. If we assess where your nervous system is, then we just have to look and see what areas are not functioning as well as they can. Like I said, this all comes down to function. So if an area is not functioning as well as it should be, then we need to increase that function. We got to figure out how to do that in the best possible way. We don't want to cover up symptoms. We don't want to look at, hey, you have that cough there, that's your problem. Because it's not. There's something that's causing you to cough. The pain is not your problem. It's something that is causing that pain. Pain is just a response to let you know that there is something wrong. We've got to look and see what is going on those things.
That was so well said, my friend. So well said. So what he really said is exactly what we just repeated. Anything that happens in your life that makes you either reach for a body part and rub it, reach for an Advil, reach for an Excedrin for the headache, maybe just challenge yourself and say, maybe this isn't right. Maybe if my child has a sore throat every single month, that's not normal. Maybe if my little 2-year-old has 8 ear infections, 8 doses of antibiotic, just maybe. Just because everyone in your street says antibiotic is all good, just maybe that's not normal. Maybe because your 8-year-old has to, he zones out every once in a while and he can't find himself, he does not need Ritalin. So in other words, yeah, I gave you 3 examples that involve medications, but sadly in the world we're currently living, every TV commercial, every 5 commercials, you're going to see one about take the drug and ask your doctor. So it's important. We would be not really the best doctors to give you functional advice if we don't tell you about these things. Lastly, if you don't sleep well, we talked about sleep in our last episode, right? The truth is, if you don't sleep well, there's another reason. Maybe you need a chiropractic checkup. What if one of the vertebrae that's offsetting inside your neck is upsetting a sleep pathway? How do we know? We don't. So once again, if you have an initial barometer of how healthy you are, kind of like every year your child grows, especially in the beginning, you mark how tall they are, right? They go to the pediatrician, they mark how tall. So the year after, when he's now 6, you go, hey, look, little Johnny grew an inch. That's good, 3 inches, whatever it was. You have a barometer. How do you know how healthy you were yesterday? How healthy were you a week ago, 2 weeks, a year ago? You have no clue. So Dr. Jeff, what's your best recommendation to motivate our listeners to make some different corrections and different idea choices?
One thing that we talked about there is you mentioned people look at it as a last resort. And you know, I see so many people that have been to 10 different medical doctors and 5 different physical therapists or different things like that. And chiropractic really is their last resort. But each one of those specialists, yeah, they might have a little bit more knowledge, but they're just compounding on the same knowledge. So, you know, if you hire a carpenter to make you something, you know, you have somebody with a lot more experience, he might be able to make you something nicer, but you're still making the same thing. You might have the same diagnosis, but what are you going to do different at that point? You've got to try something different, and looking for that cause is the biggest thing there. We have to figure out what exactly is going on. So you asked me to challenge somebody. Challenge your doctor to figure out what is actually going on, not to treat just the symptom, but what is actually going on. What do we need to do for this? You know, if you have an autoimmunity of the thyroid, is fixing the thyroid the problem, or is the immune system the problem?
Or why don't we go a step further? Why don't next time you have any kind of diagnosis, they offer you a medication, ask the doctor, what do you think caused it? Seriously, guys, think of that listening now, right now. Think of that. How many times you get a medication? We're not saying anything bad about that, by the way. We're just saying we're challenging you to think bigger. How many times did you get a medication and they told you have this condition like strep, right? Or that's a big one because that's kind of easy. You have strep and it's pretty simple. Why'd you get strep? What was the concept that you got it when no one else in your house got it? How do you catch a cold? Did you catch something? How come one elbow hurts and not the other one? How come you have back pain on the right, not the left? Why do you get headaches and no one else in your family gets headaches? How come your pupil is bigger than the other? How come you always look like one of your eyes are closed on one side, not the other? How come one shoulder hurts and not the other? How come I only sleep on one side? How come I can't sleep every single day? I can go on for hours with these things. So the big concept is ask the why in your own head right now. Why? Why is everything happening? It goes back to how your brain is functioning, and everything we just stated is literally an expression of your brain trying to tell you, the physical body, that something is not right. So that's why you come to a chiropractor like me and Dr. Jeff, because we're going to teach you how to live functionally. We're going to impact you and allow you to teach this to your friends and family. And hopefully you're going to share this message, because that is going to be the key to living the highest level of you.
I have an answer to that question.
Tell me.
I asked my endocrinologist, I have autoimmune thyroid, and I looked for answers for 10 plus years. And somebody asked me that question. They said, is the problem your thyroid or is it your immune system? And it's obviously the immune system. And I asked my endocrinologist how focusing on my thyroid was going to fix my immune system. And you know what she told me?
Go ahead.
She said, I think you can see your general practitioner from now on. So she kicked me out of her office.
So they kicked you out and they passed you along and didn't give you the answer.
Yeah.
So how'd you feel at that moment?
Well, like I said, I talked to somebody who kind of introduced me, and it really changed my world. It changed the way I practice, and that's why I am where I am.
Awesome.
We have to look for the cause of things, and it's frustrating when somebody gives you that answer, but there is an answer out there, and you just have to look for the right one.
Once again, well said, man. This has been Dr. Jared and Dr. Jeff here, and we want to wish you the greatest, most successful day. We really, really want you on this journey of health and wellness with us. And the truth is, to do that, it starts with a choice. Find and ask the right questions, and then get the right answers. So once again, we wish you the greatest day. We thank you for tuning in to Functional Living. And once again, this is the key to start the future with you and health, and it's one big journey.
That's the great close right there. And just challenge yourself. Share the information with people, because that's the only way the message is going to get out. Thanks for joining us.
Bye now.
You've been listening to the Functional Living Podcast with Dr. Jeff Cumro and Dr. Jared Leon. If this podcast helped you find the path to your higher quality of life, be sure to subscribe and leave us a rating or review.